Recently, there has been a trend that many devices are being supplied to home and offices that are based on Raspberry Pi and BeagleBone, and many DIY people here, whoever wants to build, some home automation system, some home security system, etc. And even in offices where you have all these kind of latest gadget like cell phone lockers based on Raspberry Pi, the key dispensing system based on Raspberry Pi or BeagleBone Black. So they have the hardware engineers who have supplied these devices. They have done a fantastic job hardware wise. But whenever these kind of things that network security audit etc. come into play, then what happens that those devices terribly fail in what you say, the network audit kind of thing, network security audit kind of thing. And even in home environment, whenever you make such devices, always make sure that these devices are secure, so that nobody can play any prank on you by hacking or something. So let's go to it. I will just share the screen now. So this is my the basic presentation regarding secure Raspberry Pi IoT for home and office. So what is the need actually? So it adds some security for your home automation project and home security project over Wi-Fi. So if you are not using LAN, you are using a wireless connection, then there may be a possibility that somebody can hack into your system, and if your system is not secure, you may be prone to many kind of damages and such kind of thing. Over the LAN kind of thing, you can also have this man in middle kind of attack, and ARP spoofing and ARP poisoning. And these two softwares like Wireshark and Kane-Enable, they can trace the data between an unsecured connection or from an insecure device to the client. And many recent hardwares like this key dispensing system, personal lockers, etc., that are placed in offices and they are connected to LAN. So they can be, there may be some unauthorized use of that. So you have to prevent those kind of things. Now, what can possibly go wrong, right? So when big servers are hacked, only data is lost. But in some kind of hardware, if some hacking is done, there can be some physical damages as well. So because we are related from electronics and hardware point of view, so we have to take care of that also. So what can go wrong? That prank switching on and off your devices in DIY home automation systems, yes, that can happen. Disable your home DIY security system and change the detection threshold. If you have placed some, the PIR sensors or some cameras, there may be interference in that also. Fetching unauthorized keys and open unauthorized lockers in office environment. If these devices are not secure, this can happen. Steal your password and personal data. In insecure systems, these are like just plain text kind of things, so that will be an issue for you. Right. For basic setup, you need to install a web server to kickstart your IoT. So either you can use Apache 2 or Nginx, but I prefer Nginx. Why? Because it is very lightweight and suitable for low resource system like Raspberry Pi. Like Raspberry Pi has just 1 GB of RAM or something. Now they have 4 GB, but still there are some matters of heating and all kind of things. But Nginx is very, very lightweight, and its threading part is very nice, so it can handle the user sessions very nicely. So it will put some low load and it will scale down according to the requirements of Raspberry Pi. Now we can also use install PHP, as it is very common and easy server side script language, and many people can quickly relate to PHP as it is very, very similar to C. And it also supports the basic Raspberry Pi GPIO control. Yes, for starters we may use Raspberry Pi, and optional database for storing like passwords and all those kind of things. So you can very well go to MySQL or MariaDB. So that's one thing you have to know. So these basic things will help you kickstart your IoT. Now, how will you secure it, right? I have told you why we need to, but now how will you? So we have a very good Linux-based or Debian-based OpenSSL that you can use to generate your this public key as well as the certificate. And the picture below here, it shows some of the basic things that you need to enter in the certificate to generate a proper certificate. So now what I am basically telling you is generate a self-signed certificate, right? So when you generate a self-signed certificate, what happens that those certificates are not valid in the outer internet, but these may be useful in your LAN kind of scenario. So you can generate a self-signed certificate that has the public key. So basically this SSL kind of thing is a public key, private key encryption system. Now there is a basic working understanding. I'm putting these kind of slides because there are many of us who are belonging to pure hardware engineering, and I think this will give some basic insights of how this secure IT kind of thing works. So this gentleman is the client here, and this part is the server. So when we send any request over HTTP or HTTPS, so the server responds by the public key along with its certificate. So whenever you open, some certificate is transferred to your web browser. Then the client calculates a session key and encrypts it with public key and sends back to the server, right? Then the private key decrypts that session key and encrypts the same message. And after that, the common session key is generated that is used to communicate between the client and the server. So here, this basic understanding has been reached between the client and the server. So as you see that the data has been now encrypted, you cannot read it further. Okay. Now, how to secure it? The process that I explained here regarding the sending of public key, then generating a session key, and then decrypting it with private key is known as the perfect forward secrecy. And it is also known as the Diffie Hellman Key Exchange Protocol. So if you want to learn more about this, there is a very good arithmetic available regarding this. So I'm not putting the entire thing. So I will just fast forwarding to that stuff, but you definitely read the perfect forward secrecy because it explains how HTTPS or SSL certificate works. So in cryptography, the forward secrecy, also known as perfect forward secrecy, is a feature of specific key agreement protocol, the agreement of keys between the client and the server, that gives assurances that session's key will not be compromised even if the private key of the server is compromised. Now a bit tiny details here. If you send the secure page request HTTPS, again the public key plus digital certificate is sent. The public key, the client verifies the certificate and send back the certificate authority. And then what happens? The public key, encrypted random public key is plus encrypted URL data plus session data is sent to the server. After that, the certificate is verified. It is the certificate authority is verified the client certificate as well on the server, right? Then requested document plus encrypted HTTP data with symmetric key sent back to the client, and then these details are completely encrypted, even to and fro between client and the server. So here I am my laptop is the client, and for the current scenario that I am going to demonstrate, the server is Raspberry Pi that is kept in my another room. So now I will show you how this thing works. One browser page, and here is the Wireshark. Now for Wireshark, I will use a packet capture between two server and client. Here I am the client. I will tell you which is which. So I will just copy this here, right? So if you see that the IP host 0.107 in my home network is me, I am the client. And the 0.102 IP is the Raspberry Pi that is kept in my bedroom, right? And it is kept there. It is a remote server, let us say. Now I will just start data capture. Right? The data is being captured here. Let me open a test form that I have created on my Raspberry Pi. So what I am doing, that I am using a HTTP protocol. HTTP, it is not secure. I will also show by HTTPS. So this has opened. So this is the username and this is the password. So when I have done this, you see that many of the transactions has taken place between my client or my laptop and the Raspberry Pi, that is the server, right? So here you see the syncing of data and the acknowledgement of packets and transfer of certificates, everything, etc., has already taken place. So a connection between the client and the server has been established. All right. Now, if you see here, I am putting my name Adhiraaj, and password I am putting as electronics for you. And when I am sending this, you see in the client side, in the server side, a PHP file runs, and my username and password has been printed here. All right. But it is only meant to be seen by the client and to be known by the server. But what happens that whenever I check from the Wireshark, if somebody is tracing my data in the Wireshark, you will definitely know that here a welcome.php has already been captured because I am tracing the data between the client and the server. And also, if you can see here, the username is in plain text as well as the password is in plain text. So this is not secure at all. If there are many spoofing softwares that is keeping track between the client and the server, they can easily get the username and password in plain text form. So this is a lack of security here. Now what I will do one more operation here. The same thing, what I will do, I will try to put it in HTTPS, that is the secure server kind of thing, HTTPS, and I will go and put the IP here, right, and the same file. Now see why it is saying, because I have this untrusted certificate, because it is a self-signed certificate. It has not been provided by any security company outside from where you can purchase the certificate, right? So I will go to advanced, and it is a self-signed certificate, as you can see. So I will accept the risk and continue. So as you can see that I have already generated the certificate. So you can view the certificate here. Here you will have all the certificate generation that I have already, certificate data that I have already generated here. So this is the entire certificate, and here is my name, address, everything, and the the public key is also here, and the fingerprint of the data, and all the public key information is here. So you see that I have already generated it. Now what I will do, if you check the Wireshark, you will see that there has been an exchange of certificate and a public key data here. So everything has been, see, this is the certificate where the server has provided you the certificate and the client has provided you with the acknowledgement, and everything has been, this is the client key exchange that has occurred. Okay, so the encrypted handshake message has been done. So the client and the server is now ready to transfer messages between each other. Okay, so I will go to it. Now what I will do, that I will again put the same kind of thing. I will put the username, I will put the password as electronics for you, right? And I will submit the query. I'm not saving the data, right? In the client page, definitely you can see, because it is meant to be shown here. But what happens in the network packet analyzer, that we have to see, right? If you can see here, you do not get the name of the PHP file or the server side file that is running, and everything is encrypted here, and it is total garbage data. You cannot find anything here because it has already been encrypted. This gives you the insights of why we need the security, because in wired LAN it is okay that nobody is going to hack your page or something unless they physically connect into your LAN port. But nowadays everything is working on Wi-Fi, so anything can hack your Wi-Fi, know your password, and make a track of things between within your LAN. And that is a very dangerous thing, especially in case of wireless, because that person can be anywhere, sitting in the next flat to you and trying to connect to your Wi-Fi, and then it would be a problem to you. I will also try to give you some hardware perspective here. So let me check one file here, show you that how things work on the Raspberry Pi. So I have also created one more test HTML page that is for testing the GPIO. Now, when you make some web page to switch on and off your devices at home, so let us see that the test GPIO.html, I have created one more. So let's go to it. HTTP 192.168.0.102/ right. So there an LED has been connected that will switch on and off. If I press on, it will show on, or when I press off, it will show off. So since I have only, as you will see that since I have only put the HTTP, you see that connection is not secure, right? What happened in Wireshark? Let us check. So I have sent the HTTP request. Okay, the HTML page has loaded. Now if I put, let me close this certificate page, right? Now if I do the LED on, it shows the LED is on. Okay, so the GPIO pin has been altered in my Raspberry Pi setup. But what has happened in the Wireshark is, if you can see that I have set, this GPIO.php is visible here, and entire thing in plain text has been visible, right? So this is something really dangerous. That what happens here is that let me show you. Yeah. Yes, you see that everything here is in the plain text, and where it, yeah. So anyone can, through the browser itself, can directly connect to your server and place it in on condition or in off condition, and that will be something really catastrophic. If you want to switch off some device, someone will make it on, and if you want to, make your device off, someone will switch it on, and they can change some parameters and something, and then it will be a really troublesome thing for you. So see here, if you can see that the full request is this one, and it is in plain text. It has been caught, right? gpio.php and on value equals to on, right? If I simply run this in the browser, in any other browser in my network, it will simply switch it on. But that it is only meant to happen between the client and the server. No third person should be able to track this particular thing, should be able to capture this particular thing and then run it. Now I will simply put this thing one more time in case of HTTPS and then see what happens. Now the same page has loaded again, but now the connection is secure, right? Right, the connection is secure. I will go to the last, recent part here, right? If I switch it again, it is again says LED is on. Definitely the LED has been switched on there, and now entire thing is encrypted. You see application data. You do not even see what PHP file has been running on the server side. You do not see anything. It is totally encrypted. It is showing application data, and entire thing is garbage here. So this is why we should do the certificate kind of thing, and we should definitely secure this data, because nowadays many the young students are doing this IoT kind of thing, and also you want to see that unless the data is secured, there is no chance that you are going to sell your products in the market, because many newcomers are designing the products nowadays, and many startups are there. So keep this in mind, that the security is very, very necessary, right? In IoT it is especially, because nowadays many industrial devices are also working on IoT. Okay, the higher players there, definitely they secure their devices by some means, but if the lower players or startups want to participate in this, the security is the prime thing. Otherwise in IT kind of thing, there may be just a loss of data, but in hardware kind of thing, there will be physical damage if this kind of security is not maintained. So I think people have understood what I wanted to tell. So thanks for being on the webinar.